What's going on, guys? So in front of me, you're looking at my father's Class A motorhome. Now this motorhome is how many years old at this point?
2014 model.
So it's 11 years old, and it's got two AC units on it. It's got a Dometic back here, and it's also got a Dometic right towards the front above this slide. And I talked to my dad a while back and told him, you know what, I have 4 AC units sitting in my shop that were removed from either the Brookstone or the Survey, actually both of them. And you know, if you want to replace one just to be sure, given the fact that these units are 11 years old, we can do that. So I have 2 Furrion and 2 Coleman units sitting in the shop right now. And yeah, we're about to go on a trip for about 7 days. And yeah, we're going to be traveling a few thousand miles when everything is said and done. And his front AC just started giving him problems about 3 days before we're supposed to leave. So he called me up, actually sent me a text message saying, hey, is that offer still up so we can swap out the units? So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna swap out the front unit because it's not working properly. And then the middle, there is actually a vent. And that vent is gonna give us a unique option to add a second unit. So let's take a look at the AC units real quick and show you what we'll be putting on here. Hang tight, I'll be right back. Okay, so here are the 4 air conditioning units we have removed from the other 2 RVs. This one right here is a Coleman unit. It was the first one we removed. It started making kind of a loud noise, oddly at the same time that the Furrion Chill Cube ducted came out. So we went ahead and removed this one. It's a high efficiency Coleman Quiet Cool 13.5 kBTU unit, and we swapped it with the Furrion Chill Cube ducted. Then we put the Tosat unit on the front, and that's when this one came off. So these two are the exact same high efficiency Coleman 13.5K Quiet Cool units. Above are the 2 Furrion Chill units, not the Chill Cube. These are the standard Chill, but these are 15,000 BTU units. And what's really cool is that we have the option with these to do a perfect swap in addition to my father's Class A. Let me explain why. So the Dometic unit up front is a ducted unit, and because that unit's ducted, it's also controlled via thermostat. Well, this unit right here was also controlled via thermostat in the RV. It also supports a ducted system as well as a direct fire, but the panel on it doesn't give you direct control, so it has to be controlled through a thermostat. This unit right here actually has the manual controls. This was the front AC unit on the Surveyor. So the unit that we're adding, which will be this one to the center where there's currently just a vent, is going to be perfect because there's no way to, you know, incorporate this into the ducting, and there's no thermostat wiring going to it. So this is going to give us the direct controls from the unit. So his RV currently has the 2 AC units plus the vehicle AC, which doesn't really count when you're camping. We're going to swap one of the units out, the front unit, with this one, and then we're going to put this one in the middle. So he'll now have 3 AC units total on his RV. One of them will be an original unit in the back bedroom area, and then the 2 new mid one and front units will be these Furrion Chill units, which aren't very old and not very used. They're only about a year old, and we didn't get a tremendous amount of AC use out of these because we swapped them off pretty quickly. We have all of the parts, all the controls, all of the long bolts, and I think we're ready to go. So the first thing we're going to need to do is kind of get everything disassembled. So again, 2014 Forest River Georgetown Class A with the electronic steps. This is a gas engine model V10. This is the AC unit that's giving him problems, and it's giving him problems by way of when it starts up, it's actually popping the breaker, which means it's hard starting. We could always probably maintenance this, try to put a soft start and all that stuff in, but ultimately it's not blowing as cold of air as it used to, so it's probably just a good time to swap this out. And again, I have another one. There in the center is the opening, and this is where we'll be adding an air conditioning unit. So right now there's currently not one here. All of this will come out, we'll throw an AC unit in there, and we'll have a regular 120 outlet that they can plug in to the pedestal whenever they're at the campground. So this one right here is not going to be wired into the whole system. The one in the back and the one up here, of course, are ducted, and they are wired into the 50 amp service on the RV. And then in that one again, we'll have a 20 amp cord that will plug into the pedestal. So when everything's said and done, he will have 3 units. The one up here should still be able to duct through the system just fine. And when we're said and done, this thing should be really, really capable of cooling it down, especially with the new units inside of it. So let's go ahead and start the process of disassembling everything. I've made so many videos on installing AC units that this isn't going to be as comprehensive as some of those, mainly because we're trying to work around a tropical storm coming in and the risk that it's going to get windy and rainy. So we'll probably go ahead and get most of this done and then show you little bits and pieces of it as we go through it. Okay, so we have the excavator set up with the cool little fork attachment I made on the front of it for lifting stuff up. Kind of use it as a forklift out here. We have the inner portions of both of the Furrion shell units inside. We have the inner panel off of this one, and also over here, Dad's up on top right now, but he is loosening the cover. He basically snuck up there when I was trying to get the attachment on the forklift. And we will begin removing AC units, or at least this AC unit here in a second, and we'll move on to that one. Okay, so we have the old AC off. We have the Furrion up here right now. The old AC is actually sitting on the front of the excavator right now. We're going to do the, well, we can't really do the same thing because we're not removing one, but we're going to get the second AC. We're going to offload that one, get the second AC, and get it placed up here. That area should be nice and clean now. Okay, so I have the unit in place. I have it tightened down. Got to pull some of the old flashing off of here. Got the control box right here already wired in. Just have to hook up the thermostat controls. Now, the previous unit, the Dometic we took out, actually had a heat strip in it, but he never used the heat strip. The heat strip could be transferred over to here. The problem is this control box right here doesn't actually support a heat strip. Otherwise, it'd have another plug and you would actually see on the board where it's marked for that. So this unit's just going to be air conditioning as well as the unit back there, which you might hear him working on right now. Again, we've tightened it down. I usually go in kind of a star pattern, and then I just make sure that the gasket is compressed all the way around, which it is, because you don't want any water coming in. Then when we're done, I always do like a semi-high pressure water test by spraying all the way around the perimeter just to make sure no water can permeate through that seal area. Okay, so both the units are mounted. We got everything tightened in place and it's working. This one's completely hooked up. So we have all of our connections hooked up. It's a little different than a Dometic. So this is where I'm really going to give you a little bit of advice and coaching. If you are going to swap out a Dometic, and I don't know if they're all this way, but the Dometic that was in here is definitely a little bit different. Most of your connections are going to be the same, even though the wiring color is dramatically different. Basically, your thermostat needs power and ground. So these wires right here come from this control box and go to the thermostat. Thermostat wires are right here. So I have two furnace wires. These are these two wires right here, which I'm connecting to the furnace wires right here. And that's going to allow the AC to pass 12 volts through to the furnace whenever you want to kick it on. So the furnace is tied into this one air conditioning system. Secondly, the wires right here, you have an A and a B on the Furrion. And these are your signal wires that basically pass 12 volts through from the thermostat to kick this thing on. On the Dometic, there was only one single wire. And I imagine that it was that way because that one single wire handled both responsibilities of turning the fan on as well as the AC unit, and it probably did that through like a variable voltage, right? It maybe pushed like 6 volts through to turn the fan on and then 12 volts through to turn the fan and AC on. Basically, it was just one signal wire. So in other words, the back of the thermostat over there had a black power wire, or I'm sorry, it was a white ground wire, a red power wire, and a orange signal wire. On this one, you have two signal wires. So when we tried to connect this to the Dometic thermostat, we were getting an error code because it didn't know how to speak to the Furrion control box. So the Furrion uses an additional wire. So what are your A and B wires? Your A wire turns the fan on, presumably, and the B wire turns the air conditioning unit on, or the air conditioning compressor. So the thermostat gets power from this unit from the wires coming in, your 12 volts, so that powers up the thermostat. That the ground wire also is fed through this unit, and then these two wires are your signal wires that feed back from the thermostat to the AC saying fan turn on, air conditioning compressor turn on. If I disconnect one of these, the air conditioning compressor will shut off, and probably the fan as well. I bet these both have to be on for the air conditioning compressor to be on, but only one needs to be on for the fan. And then we have a third wire right here, which is the ground wire, but we don't need this one because the signal for ground was actually daisy chained to another wire that was back here. So we're still getting ground to the thermostat. That's basically it. It's a pretty simple wiring as long as you realize and kind of research and figure out where everything ends up going. The biggest challenge is kind of identifying different color codes for different units, because that's a bit of a pain in the butt. That said, yeah, we're gonna wrap this one up and then we're gonna get that one connected over there to a 110 cord, which is right there, which will go out under the slide. I'm not sure how we're going to route it, but basically we're going to give him a third air conditioning unit in here, which in the hot Florida sun is definitely going to be a benefit. Anyways, let's move on to this unit. Okay, so this unit is running perfectly. We got air coming through all of the vents and flowing really nice and cold air through the direct fire. A lot of pressure going through the system, and it is controlled by the thermostat, which we have up there. I got to replace the thermostat housing, which I actually have one from a furnace, so the bottom tab got cracked, so it didn't attach properly. This is what we have going on here. So we have an extension cord, 12 gauge commercial grade extension cord that's plugged in or connected to the power terminals, 110. We have it fed through the top of this cabinet, down here, over, down the back side here, over here, and out the side through a hole. So for this trip, since the trip is coming up really soon, and we don't have the part we need, basically an outside receptacle that we can put on, we drilled a small hole that's just the size of the extension cord so we can move it through, and then we put a big rubber grommet on the other end, so whenever he's traveling he can literally just pull this in. The grommet will seat up against the side of the RV and it will prevent any type of water from getting in. We also drilled the hole at an angle, kind of like if you're doing a mini split for the drain line, so if water comes down it's not going to backfeed into the RV, but that's going to be replaced very soon with an actual receptacle out there that will be attached to the side so he can literally plug right in. Now this unit does not have a soft start built into it, so we may either add a soft start, but I have a solution for that. So we're marking the conduit. We put this piece right here, notched it out. We notched out the side of the housing right here, smoothed it off so it's not going to accidentally pierce through the wire. Everything's looking really good. We just have to cut that short piece of conduit to cover that little gap. We have the adhesive underneath here. This side is just going to be suspended because of the actual cable going through it, but this side over here could eventually, you know, delaminate or peel away because of the tape, so we put a screw in over here to make sure that that doesn't happen. And then on this piece, on this side we won't need to, but then in the middle we probably will, so we'll put another screw. But so far we're almost done with our third AC unit on a, well, second AC unit we added, but having 3 AC units on Dad's RV. Okay, so we are done. There's going to be some extra tweaking done to cover some things up and clean it up in a little while, but we have the unit installed, panels on, wire covered. Again, we're going to cover up some other stuff, but this is just to get it going for this trip. All right, Dad, go ahead and plug it in. Okay, first thing we want to do is turn the fan on. There we go. Fan is on. And we have it set for colder. Let's see if it kicks on. We have it plugged into the shop right now, and I don't know if we're going to trip a breaker, but it's possible. Let's see what happens. Seems like it kicked on. Yeah, compressor kicked on. I heard it. It's getting a little colder. Very good. So compressor is on. So now we have 3 ACs. We got one in the back. That's the original one. That one we didn't remove or do anything with. It has its own thermostat. This one, which has manual controls, and we ran this one to a 110 outlet or 120 outlet. And then over here, we have one that's ducted, that's tied to the thermostat. So this one, they can either direct fire or they can feed it through the vents like this. Got 3 ACs going on in here now. At least 2 of them are running. The back one's not on. But you know what? We should probably get out of here for a bit just to see how well this cools the unit down. Give it a couple of minutes, come back in and see what the overall outcome is. Okay, so this is going to be an invaluable tool that he's going to be able to use out here since he has 2 AC units that run off of his 50 amp connection, and I don't think either one of them have soft start systems built into them. So this is a soft startup from Soft Start USA. It's an advanced AC soft starter. So what this is used for, in essence, is the ability to help ramp up your amperage very slowly so it doesn't kick on with such a jolt and potentially not start on some things. So it gives you a good little diagram here on the front showing you what it does. So the technology can start and run 2 ACs with 50 amps or 30 amp power, 2 ACs with a 3000 watt generator, generator, 2 ACs with a 3000 watt inverter, 1 AC with a 2200 watt generator, or an AC with a 2000 watt inverter. So again, this essentially eliminates the need for you to be super cautious in terms of power, which means technically he may be able to start both of these AC units on 30 amps of power. Because if they go out to an area where there's only 30 amps available, this is going to give him that capability, which is really cool. He does have a generator on the RV, but if he's at an RV park, again, with only 30 amps, then this is really going to help him out. Now, this specific one does not have any type of surge protection built into it. It's not going to have any type of like smart connectivity to connect into it to see what's going on. Basically, it's going to be a soft startup system. That's really what it is. So he has already one that plugs into his pedestal that gives him all of those protections. This would just daisy chain off of that and give him again the ability to soft start his ACs, which is going to be again a feature that he currently doesn't have on either of his ACs. So this will prolong the life of the ACs, allow him to draw less power. Basically, that startup surge is what typically is going to trip a breaker, or it's not going to prevent you to use both ACs. Once you get past that, the running wattage is usually going to be around 1000 watts or so. It's not going to be like 3000 watt spike like you see initially when you start them up. And again, this gives you that capability. This was provided by my channel sponsor, eTrailer.com. They carry this as well as all sorts of other stuff. They carry stuff that combines multiple technologies into one. Cool thing about this one is it costs a little less. If you already have the surge guard for your RV and you just need this part of it, this simply daisy chains into what you already have, and you're not having to repurchase a whole nother thing at an incredibly high price. Anyways, I will throw a link to this in the description of this video if this is something you're interested in. Also, if you're looking to replace air conditioning units on your RV, eTrailer carries them all. They carry inverter ACs, they carry variable speed ACs, they carry 12 volt ACs, rooftop ACs. They carry the Furrion chills that we just installed. They carry the Furrion chill high efficiency as well as the lower profile. And they also carry the Furrion chill cube, which is the 18,000 BTU units that we have on the Brookstone and on the Surveyor. But yeah, they carry every possible thing you can imagine to upgrade, replace, modify, or add an air conditioning unit to your RV. So a lot of cool stuff there. Definitely go check it out. Guys, if you haven't had a chance, please take a moment, subscribe to the channel, give me a thumbs up. We'll talk to you again real soon.